Welcome back, folks, to World of Warships Legends. I'm Soopa-Dave, and today we're taking a look at the key. It is currently on in the shop right now, on sale, 25% off for if you're going to purchase it with the balloons. So just that's for if you guys are watching it, should be the next couple days for you guys. Let's take a look at the commander here. Scharnhorst, we're using Musashi with Scharnhorst and Pablo de Revel. Base trait watching you with flammable cannoneer, gyrating drill bits, marksmanship, and gun layer, along with fight fire with fire as always. For our modifications, we're using Aiming Systems Mod 1, prop and concealment in the second and third as always, and the main battery Mod 3. And if you would like, you can upgrade that to a epic or legendary. For your loadouts, you have three average heals. They're not great, they're not bad, they're Japanese, so a lot of times you're gonna get burned if you get a good fire guy against you. A fire spammer, Japanese, because of their consumable duration. A lot of times you'll be on fire quite a bit. You have four observational seaplanes. You could take catapult fighter or enhanced secondaries, but because of the build we're using with the Musashi commander, this observation planes get you some pretty accurate salvos out of an already accurate ship. Health 68,000. And for your main guns, you have 10 410s, so them are 16.2-inch guns. Um, they're pretty good. I like them. I know a lot of people are going to be watching this of whether debating whether to get it or not. The key, I like it for a Japanese battleship, but at tier 7, it's loaded, right? And this thing doesn't stand out at the tier. Like, there's not a whole lot that makes this ship unique. It is good for is relatively accurate. And I feel like it has that classic Japanese battleship dispersion of when you get close, the shells become not as accurate. Distance, this thing is pretty darn accurate. Um, and I like it, but I like a lot of ships. So I would say this is average, middle of the pack battleship. But you get what you, it's consistent. And to me, so far, my shots and my salvos coming out of it are consistent, even though my aim isn't. And that's what I do like in a battleship. This actually does have torpedoes, as three on each side. They are on the back of the ship, making it not ideal, right? Like they're knocked out, it seems like a little bit. And all they, when they're on the back like that, for me on the Japanese, it seems like they get knocked out. But for the size of 610 millimeters, them are Shimakaze torp size. These things don't do that much damage. They're not terrible. Like, if you need them, they're handy, right? But you're at 6 kilometers and 63 knots. They are definitely like sneak up on somebody, which I wouldn't recommend in this ship. I mean, it is armored enough to do it, but your accuracy is going to be, it doesn't have all the tools to be a close in, I guess. You can, but like a lot of the Japanese battleships, better at range. AA defense is solid for Japanese. I'm not saying it's amazing, but it is decent. I haven't really got to use it a whole lot, to be honest with you, but having a good chunk of your AA at 5 kilometers is always a help. Maneuverability for a battleship, pretty average, right? For the tier. Like classic, feels middle of the pack on that. A very average ship, in my opinion. 13.5 detection, meaning you're not going to sneak up on a dead moose in open water. It's a battleship. Stats, only played 2 games, and it felt pretty good in both games. First game was over super quick. Second game is the one that you guys are going to see, but you can see definitely can take a beating if you want it to and be okay. So for your armor, one thing I would say on this stats too is that 37%, it's definitely much more accurate than that. I've you're going to see in our match, I had taken some bad shots pretty early on. You can see your bow and stern are 32, meaning even though you'll take some HE pens, you don't get overmatched through the bow unless it's Musashi. Outside of that, you're fine. And here's the Citadel, which is actually below the water for the most part. Not an easy. For a Japanese battleship, it is actually a little bit tougher to hit than most of them. So that is actually nice. As we start the match, it's disclaimer time. This is a beginner's video meant to help people new to the ship or new to the game. This is not meant for professional gamers that know everything there is to know about everything in the universe. There are multiple ways to play and build this ship, and I am an above average player, not the world's best. I make mistakes. You may see one in this match. You didn't come here for pronunciations. I'm as good as anybody at slaughtering beautiful languages all the time. With that out of the way, we are on Strait, and we do spawn middle, and we are going to stay here. We're going to be a little bit careful in the very beginning. Our destroyer is not moving forward. This map I don't care for a whole lot. It is one of my least... I would say it's definitely lower on my list of maps. It just, no matter what spawn you get, unless you get the middle spawn like I have, it can be a real stalemate, right? Like, whoever gets too aggressive is generally the person that, wins or loses on Strait. And like I said, this ship is a very average tier 7 ship. There's not going to be a whole lot that's going to shock you in this video, except for some very terrible aiming on my part. But like I said, not a bad ship, not a great ship, not something I personally probably would go get out of my way. But we're going to see the Brandenburg as we spawn middle. We want to affect the middle of the match, get these guys out of the middle. Definitely gives us the upper hand, and we just got to be careful nothing comes over from our right side. And the Brandenburg stops, and my shot goes whizzing over, and then of course the destroyer gets spotted. And I do not have the ability to shoot him right now. Now, that being said, that is a Summers SE, or CE, meaning it's a collector's edition, meaning that players played a while, so they're probably not a terrible player. We want to remember that and help out our destroyer any chance we get. So, we're going to take another shot at the Nagato and Brandenburg that are deciding to have a demo derby. We get a couple shells on a target. 6 of them, so you can see it's accurate, but my aiming hasn't been the best so far in this match, right? So again here we're gonna go ahead and take a shot at Brandenburg. We wanna hit him pretty good before he gets too close in. We don't want to be in a brawl with anything with secondaries. All right, so we're gonna take a solid little chunk off, but you can see some torpedoes head our way. We're gonna start to move. And we do get a nasty little hit in us there from somebody. I'm guessing it was Nagato. We're going to throw out some torps. So you can see the torp angles aren't bad, but they are at the back of the ship, meaning if you're getting fire spammed, them things are probably going to get knocked out pretty easily. But we're going to push up because we do not want to eat torps. Also, we notice the whole left flank is... leaving their side, leaving our left flank completely open. There, we're going to take another shot at Nagato here, and we've had a relatively slow start so far. Not a whole lot happening. Nobody being real stupid or dumb, and that's going to continue here for a second, and then it's going to heat up. There is a Magi over there. You got to be careful in this map of being too aggressive, and the same goes with this ship. If you get too aggressive, you can see even with my bad aiming, we're still hitting shells, right? Like, it's pretty accurate. The shells we've missed are bad aim, like that one, and we still hit 3 of them. But you just have to keep in mind, up close and personal, the ship isn't ideal for that type of stuff, especially because it does seem like it does have flat armor. So it does seem like even though it is armored, it does eat a pretty fair amount of penetrations. And as our team is completely bailing from this flank, we're going to go over here and take it. And Shimanto decides to show himself. And to be honest, you can see we do get 5 full pins in it, or I mean 4 over pins and a Citadel. So I'm happy to get 1 Citadel at that range. I'm surprised we even got one that close up, so I will take it. You know, Shimanto flat broadside at that range is going to be generally a lot of overpins. So now I am the focus of this entire team, and now you're going to see the accuracy. We're going to aim up just a little bit in case he turns out, and he does actually start to turn out a little bit, but it's a little too late, and we get another solid salvo out on him. Again, you can see even though we had a slow start 5 minutes in, we're starting to pick up now, right? We're letting people push in on us. As you can see, there is Kansas over here. This Kansas is actually going to be quite a little bit of a pain in the butt for me here for a little bit. We're going to take some shells on Kansas. Also, you can see Shimanto is deciding to pop back out. We're going to try to be careful, but we want to hit him when we get the opportunity to. But we got to be careful giving up this broadside to Kansas. Kansas can absolutely wreck us if we're not careful here. So Shimanto does go back in. We're taking a look at our shot. We're going to take it on Kansas. And you're going to see we use our observation plane. And you're going to see a nice little chunk come off of Kansas here, I'm guessing. Yep. That's solid for no Citadels. We're just, chunking a decent amount on him. And our cruiser decided he was going to rush in here. Not an ideal idea there. But Kansas hits us back. We're angled pretty well, so we don't take too much. And we're going to go ahead and try to get rid of Shimanto here. While Kansas was a little bit distracted. And he stops going backwards, so we shoot forward and get another Citadel. So you can see even the couple of shells we put on, guessing he was going to go forward, were solid, and they do finish him. So was that 3 Citadels on 3 different ships there? Oh no, we had 2 on Shimanto, 2 different salvos. But you can see again, pretty decent. We're going to try to chunk Kansas, and the Summers shows himself again. Now this time here, I am going dark, meaning I can get up a little bit closer to try to catch this guy off guard. It's a destroyer. I like, even in a ship like this that has no tools to take on a destroyer, I'm still going to do it. That's just how I am. I like chasing destroyers. You guys know that. It's so rare are matches where that you don't see me take on the destroyer in them, in any ship, so nobody's probably surprised here. And this is going to be a little bit of a showcase of the shells. I don't know if you saw that spread, but it wasn't pretty. Kind of the Japanese battleship dispersion. When they get up close, they can be kind of trolly. We're going to send out torpedoes, but we're not really expecting a whole lot. Our cruiser buddy, we're hoping, helps us out, finish him. But he's kind of put himself in a bad position here. He's getting spotted, and we're going to throw a bunch of shells out. And again, kind of a spray there. Not too bad on that salvo. Got a little bit there. But sadly, we're afraid that he's going to get out of our range here before we can even do anything. And even though we kind of figured torpedoes were coming, I thought I sped up enough, and we are going to actually eat 2 of these. We're going to look to take a shot, but you're going to see here the destroyer decided to try to snipe a kill, and that is going to go poorly for him, because with that much health, I will only need 1 or 2 shells, and we do get that. And Kansas is being still kind of annoying. He's still alive. And we're going to work on trying to stay unspotted. And we don't have a lot of health, obviously. And we're going to do our best to try to actually take him down a little bit here. And you're going to see we're going to get back out at range here, and you're going to see these guns really behave well for Japanese. Sometimes Japanese battleships, when you're in them, they, like Musashi's a good example for me. Sometimes I get some really good samples out of it, and other times, like, what was that? So for Japanese, I feel like it's pretty good as we get another decent chunk on Kansas. And Kansas here, sidetracked obviously by the cruiser. Not much he's going to be able to do. So we're just going to keep trying to chunk him out. We're still not spotted yet. And we are trying to just go ahead and finish him off. This match was actually pretty close until just a few, a little bit. And we're gonna load up and hopefully try to kill him with kill him with this shot, so that he doesn't get to shoot back at us. And at range, we can do. Kansas eats a lot of pins because of how big that superstructure is and how wide that boat is. But we're gonna go ahead and finish off Kansas with our high caliber, having a respectable game. Nothing too crazy, but this is a very classic. Key type of game. Like, it's gonna be a very average battleship. Not bad, not great. I like it, but I like everything. So it goes to show as we are definitely helped our team win. Top of the leaderboard, I do in fact believe. You guys have a super wonderful day, and I will see you next time, folks. Have a good one.